Hey everyone, welcome back to East Vineland, New Jersey. We are back on Kubota Farm. I almost screwed up and I had it in my mind today that I was going to be recording Old Family Farm. Came home, launched Old Family Farm, and something in the back of my head said, Brad, it's Tuesday. You're recording for Wednesday. That's Kubota Farm. So somehow or other, I managed to make it onto the right farm, and you're getting the correct video for the day of the week. Ay, ay, ay. Anyways, hope you're all having a better week than I am then. As you can see, we've got the old M8 hooked onto the Husky over by the pig barn. We're going to be filling up with some slurry. I have adjusted the tires on the M8 to our twin narrows, front narrows. Thought that might be a little bit better selection for running over crops while we're doing fertilizing. I also adjusted my audio. Hopefully it's a little better than it has been the past few videos. I think I was a little loud. So let me know if balance seems okay, if you would please. I listened to I kind of watched through my recordings a little bit just to make sure things aren't too crazy off. But sometimes, when they hit YouTube, things can be sound a little bit different and stuff. So yeah, let me know if I sound worse than let's just say, let me know if I sound as bad as I normally do. We'll just take that as a we're doing okay. So we've got a lot of slurry, and it looks like we've got some fields that are in dire need of it. Man, our grass field, man, I don't know if it gets any darker red than that. Holy cow. So yeah, I think we need to spread everything except for our corn and our poplar. I don't know how much slurry, if we'll have enough slurry. I'm gonna guess we might. Our environmental score, I think, is as high as it's been, right? Did we hit 75 maybe at one time? Anyways, 73 I guess I will take. Let's finish filling up the Husky with that invisible slurry that's going in there. That one's adding to the slurry tank apparently right now. That's absolutely lovely. Thanks for that display. Appreciate that. Enjoy the rest of your bathroom break. I mean, that is what they're doing, right? When the pigs are squatting like that. I don't know why pigs would squat like that for any other reason other than to, be taking care of business. So I'm assuming that's what that's what they're doing. I don't know. Snort at me. Good for nothings. Oh, yes, and I almost forgot the biggest news of all. Look at our money total. First time over $1 million. Not too shabby. I tell you, that wool just does it up. Absolutely fantastic. So we are over $1 million in the bank. Very happy about that. Very, very happy about that. Now we get to spend it. Woohoo! Let me turn on my crop sensor. Turn on crop sensor. That would be alternate B. I'm assuming if there ever was a good time to turn on crop sensor, now's the time to do it. I would love to know what change nitrogen reference value is. And, well, okay, I would like to know what it is and when would you ever use it? Like, when do you only use it when you deactivate automatic application rate? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the heck that is. I need to look it up. That's what I need to do because I'm sure the information's out there somewhere, but I've never touched change nitrogen reference value. I don't think I've have to, but who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing out on something. I honestly, I don't know. So our corn, I don't think our corn needs, right? Didn't I say that? I think I said that. Yeah, I don't think our cornfields need our slurry. I'll tell you what, this tank full of slurry, I think, is going to give this M8 a workout going up a couple of these hills. We'll find out here. And we are going to use GPS, so I just want to get a little bit of this headland taken care of, because this is a pretty big tanker with a, so turning wise it needs a little bit of help, I think. And it's got a little bit of a delay when I turn it on, so I'm going to have to get used to that as well. But speed-wise, man, I think it's as fast as I'll get out, that's for sure. Holy cow. All right, so we got a little bit on the end here. Let's see if our GPS can help us out a little bit. What do we do here? So we're going to turn on GPS, go into here. I think that's about right. Let's set a 0. Not quite sure why it's showing an offset. Oh, well, maybe it's showing an offset because of this being over to the left. So maybe there is a bit of an offset involved with this. All right. Let's see how well it does. Be curious to see. Man, we're hauling 19 miles an hour. Now, that seems fast, but I don't know what these tankers can usually spread at. But that does seem seems pretty quick. I don't know. I think we're really going to go through the slurry. That's for sure. May want to do a little bit of a headland or two down in this area down here. Let's do an inside view here for a sec. And we'll just do, can't really see much of what's going on, but I'm gonna guess I always forget about those dualies in the back. I think I'm gonna miss and make it, but the dually catches me, and now I think we're hooked. Let's see if I can weasel my way. I have my doubts. Oh yeah, okay. All right, good deal. Kind of weasel our way around that. Forrest Gumped my way around that pole. I can't even imagine what that would have done to that rear axle if I hit that pole that hard. Or to the neighbor's internet and all their utilities just went down. Whoopsie. Sorry about that, guys. Just trying to spread some poop. That's all. We're just trying to do some farming here. Don't mind us. I was half tempted to consider doing something with pumps and hoses, but that seemed like kind of a lot of setup, and we really, I feel like you need even more. Plus you've got to set up a BGA, and I just wasn't prepared to do all of that. But I kind of felt like this, out of anything, this would have been a good. Yeah, see, I can see the offset's not working quite right. Stop for a second. Oh, you're just gonna keep, oh no, you're not gonna keep pumping. Okay, I was gonna say it shouldn't keep pumping slurry since we're using precision farming. Honestly, I haven't done a lot with offsets. Offset increment, and it's kind of hard to see I really don't know what I'm doing. Plus minus. Yeah. Well, maybe we won't use GPS then. Maybe I'll just eyeball it. I'm not sure I've ever used the offset function on the GPS mod or not, now that I'm thinking about it. And if I did, it's been so long that I don't really remember. I don't really remember how to use it. I know that you have to... It has to flip every time you turn. Well, speed will make up for a lack of accuracy, I guess, in this case. I can rely on that, I guess. Let's see if we can do a little bit better job this time around. Thank goodness we're using precision farming, and I'm not wasting a lot of slurry. I'm going to have to play with that offset and see how to get that working properly. I seem to remember watching a FSG video or somebody's video on that was doing the guidance steering mod, and they discussed offset a little bit, but it kind of, I guess the way they kind of approached it was they didn't seem to have a really good take on it either, that it was kind of a little bit of guesswork or something, I think, if I remember right. But I don't know. I'll probably have to take a look at it a little bit more and see if I can figure that out. I don't think it'd be too hard to, hopefully not too hard to figure out. I don't know how you figure out what you know, what the accurate amount of offset should be, because it doesn't really say. And from the looks of it, it doesn't detect the offset accurately either, or maybe it did, and I just aren't using it properly. I don't know. I wonder how Courseplay would deal with that as well, and hired helpers. It's been my experience that the hired helpers do seem to deal with offsets okay. At least I've not seemed to have any problems. I probably should have checked to see how we're... Oh yeah, we're doing pretty good. All right. Obvious some spots that I've missed there, but it's definitely doing what it's supposed to be doing. Thanks, pigs. I can't even imagine the bouquet of odors that are coming out of the back end of this trailer that people here in East Vineland right now are just absolutely cursing me out. It seems to me, though, that chickens can be the worst. If I remember right, I've had a friend that lived a little bit more country-like, and there was a chicken farm not too awful far from their house. And I had been there a few times and never smelled anything nasty. And then one day I went there, and there was this tremendously horrible, pungent smell. And wait a minute, Brad. Are you empty? You're empty. Good for nothing. And I remember asking them, what is that? Like, I honestly thought I was going to be calling the police, um, you know, to come do a welfare check on their neighbors or something. I'm thinking there's somebody's died, and they're like, "Nah, that's the chicken farm down the road. When the wind blows, you know, the right way, we get all that smell." And it was one of the worst, honestly, one of the worst smells. Well, I've had only 2 smells in my life that have been worse. 3, I could say 3 if I'm counting my college days, because my diet was so horrible that there were times when, honestly, I think my roommate thought there was a Yeti in the bathroom. Um, that being said, only 2 other smells I've smelled in my life, and one of them was very unfortunate. I smelled twice. When I was younger, I worked for, and I think I've discussed this before a while ago, maybe even back on the Buchern days, which Buchern seems like it was forever ago. But I worked for Service Master, carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, and stuff. And we did disaster cleaning, and unfortunately, I did have to clean up after a couple of deceased people, and that outranks any bad smell I've ever smelled in my life. I'll never forget the smell of that smell. I'll just never forget it. It's just, and I think it's something in your brain internally that your body rejects so violently. It's so bad. And then the second worst smell, the second worst smell I've ever dealt with was I worked for a footwear company, a large footwear company. I was in their IT department, and I see that strip right there. We're going to go to the end and come back and hit that strip. We probably don't have to worry about too much, but we might as well do a complete application. I worked for a footwear company, a fairly large, actually, a global footwear company, and not a good place to work. But they had their own tannery, so they don't anymore, but at the time, they produced their own leather. Are you spreading? You are, okay, just not very much, okay. They produced their own leather, and I had to go to the tannery to work on computers there, and they were pigskins, and raw pigskins, and if I remember right, there might have been cowhide as well, but I only remember pigskins, and they were raw, like like fresh off the bone, raw. And the odor of that was exceptionally unpleasant. Exceptionally unpleasant. What are you doing? Why is it doing that? What's it doing? Is it doing that because of precision farming? Is it just spreading where it needs to and it's stopping? Or is something actually broken on this field? I don't know what it's doing. Maybe it's just graphics. It just looks weird. Because it looks like it was spreading. It looks like it was spreading okay. It was just spurting out. Maybe there was a clog. Maybe a couple of chunks got caught in the pipe, and it was trying to get through the clog. I don't even know if I want to know what it was doing. So nasty. But yeah, the tannery smell was on a significantly different level too. Still not anywhere near my my earlier days with the cleaning company, but significant enough to where it was quite vulgar. And they went on strike. They were a unionized group, and they went on strike. And so the company wanted volunteers to do the work, basically break the picket line and go do the work. Now I don't know, how all of you feel about. I don't want to get into the politics of unions and how you all feel about that. I don't even know if I necessarily know how I feel about it. I I've I've seen good and bad when it comes to unions. Um, but I was young, and it was extra pay. Um, it was extra pay, and it was basically a break from the norm. It was a curiosity thing for me, and my job when I worked at the tannery, it was only for like 2 weeks. Um, but my job was to take the um, well, I did two or three different things there. I took the raw skins, and they initially went into this thing that kind of beat off the kind of beat. It was like a roller, like a big washing machine kind of thing, and it was kind of an initial wash, and it was there to kind of get rid of the maggots and fatty tissue and all that stuff. And I'm sorry if this is repulsing anybody. I really do apologize. I won't be try to be too graphic here, but so that so loading those machines was my first few days. And then I don't know if they felt bad for me or if they just knew that office people were gentle people and not gentle, soft, very soft individuals that probably couldn't really take this. So they had mercy on me and some other people, and we shifted positions. And I think my second one was a cutting machine. It was like a lathe, and you would lay out the skins, and they would get pulled through a lathe, and it would just kind of thin them out and I think cut off some material that they didn't want on there. And then my last job there, if I remember right, I was I forget what they called it. It was like I threw the skins, so the skins would come out. This was the most pleasant job because they were the cleanest at this point. They were actually really pretty clean by now. And I would take them. In fact, I think they were pretty much completely clean. And they would come out of the wash, and there were these huge plastic, hard plastic sheets hanging from like a clothesline. And you would take these skins and you would throw them onto these plastic sheets, and the skins would stick to the plastic sheets like a chamois. If you've ever used a chamois for washing cars, exactly like that. That kind of texture, that kind of feel, and they would actually stick automatically, to these plastic sheets. And then you would take a squeegee and you would squeegee out all the water and stuff from the skins. And then they would slowly work down the line, and they would end up in a dryer. They'd get dried, and pretty much at that point, once they were dried, I think they still had to be stretched and softened, if I remember right. I think our pig pen is empty, isn't it? Let's take a look at the hack job I'm doing here. Wow, that just does not look right. I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I know, yeah. Okay, all right. Well, hopefully that'll work. I think our pig slurry's empty though. Where's my? Oh, come on, Brad. There you go. Yeah, so we've used all the slurry from the pig stall. Let's go grab whatever slurry we have left in our overflow tank here. I think we might have a tank full. or a little bit more over here. I forget how much I brought over here. So yeah, then when I was done, you know, they were like, it was like they were constantly moving. So you would throw the skins up on this thing and then squeegee it out, and then they would go through. Hello? Am I not close enough? Wait a minute. How much? Okay, so we've got 70,000. I wonder if I'm just not close enough. Let me see if I can. Scooch in. Nah, you know what? I've actually never taken out of this thing, so maybe there's something goofy. Maybe there's something goofy going on. Turn on crop sensor, that's fine. There's no cover to open or anything like that. Let's give it another shot here and see if I can maybe get a little bit, sneak just a little bit closer. Let's try. Yeah, I know I'm going to be running over this thing. This is going to get ugly before it gets better, by the way. Oh! Okay. Guess I got the trigger. So, yeah. It was a heck of an experience. I felt really bad. I'm not going to lie to you. I felt bad about the crossing the picket line. It was one of those things where I really felt like I really had mixed feelings about that quite a bit. Because I really felt like there were people that were picketing. The problem is that I didn't know what the issues were and why they were picketing. I didn't know what they were picketing for, if it was money, if it was job, or if it was working conditions. I don't know. I probably should have been more aware of that. I don't know that I would do it again. If I'm being honest with you, at this point in my life, I don't think I would ever do it again, though. Regardless of how I feel about unions and stuff, I really don't know that I would ever cross a picket line like that to do work again. I think that I think it would bother me too much to do it, even though I'm not particularly a huge fan of the union stuff. Sometimes it just feels really personal. It just feels really personal. And so I think I'd probably pass, if I'm being honest with you. That being said, it was a heck of an experience working at the tannery. One that I'm glad I had. I earned an amazing amount of respect for the people that worked there full-time and regularly worked there. Yeah. I don't want to pump in. I want to pump out. So 61, how much does that leave us? We should almost have this thing emptied out by now. 7,000 liters left? Okay. Tell you what, you go through the slurry, don't you? Even with the amount of pigs that we have, and they've been producing slurry pretty much full time, we are, by the looks of it, are not going to have enough to really do all the fields we have. So that says something about how much stinking slurry you really need to keep a farm fertilized, you know. But it's worth doing, saving us some money. We don't have to buy fertilizer, and honestly, it's with precision farming, fertilizer's kind of one of the least expensive things. Lime has been much more of an expensive proposition in my experience than fertilizer has been, that's for sure. But hey, this should help our score. I'll be curious to see next month what our score looks like, because I'm under the impression with precision farming that the score doesn't update on the fly. It kind of needs a day to go by for it to adjust. That's kind of the impression I get from precision farming. But yeah, going back to the tannery thing, a lot of respect for the people that worked there. I believe, if I remember correctly, um, the strike didn't last that long. I think they, if I'm being honest, I think they quickly realized that they really needed the skilled labor back. I think they quickly realized that having a bunch of office people doing the tannery work was not was not working. It wouldn't surprise me if the quality of the leather. I don't think the quality of the leather suffered because they had a lot of quality checks and standards that they would have had to have done. But I do remember the amount of leather that was produced out of the tannery diminished considerably, because we just didn't know, we just weren't skilled. I think most everybody, the only people that I remember were management, were the only people that were still there during the strike, because they weren't union employees. So they continued to go there, and they would instruct us what to do. I mean, some of the jobs were pretty non-skilled jobs. They were pretty much just, if you're willing to get really dirty, um, anybody could do it, as long as you were, somewhat physically able-bodied. Um, but some of the other jobs, though, I mean, you had to have some experience, and that's just not something anybody that went there to help had. I mean, you had people from accounting, you had IT people, you had, I mean, any department you could think of, sales, accounting, I mean, designers. There were some people I saw there that had no business, really had no business being there. I mean, bless their hearts for trying, but should never have been there. Um, but yeah, I know the production went down quite a bit, and I think that was probably a big part of why the strike didn't last very long. I really don't even know what they got out of the strike, if they got all their demands met, or what was the outcome of that. But I do know it didn't last long, so that should say pretty much they must have had a pretty good upper hand on the company to not have it last long. So, but that tannery is shut down now. It is no more. It shut down many years ago. There were just far too many environmental issues with that tannery. It made the news, and not good news. It made a lot of negative news in the community about some of the waste that was being pumped out of there, not being cleansed right, going into the river, that kind of thing. Even to this day, I still hear occasionally news stories about them still having to, they're still dealing with environmental waste, and they're still on the hook. They're still on the hook for the cleanup. So probably a good thing. The entire city could smell it. It was a big issue for the entire city. It was a small town where the tannery was located. They would get a lot of complaints. In the summertime, on hot summer days, it was horrendous. So I'm sure that the people that lived there were extremely happy to see the tannery go. I would imagine. I know I would be. I mean, we would go down town, and this is a small town, so it's not like going like downtown, you know, to a big city. This was a small town. But nonetheless, it had a decent sized little quaint downtown, and we would go down there for lunch and stuff, and it would ruin your appetite on hot days. You would smell this tannery, and it was just nasty. But I think that's it for this episode of Kubota Farm. I think I've yapped on way too long, but I'm gonna finish using up what slurry I can get my hands on, and use it up here on our sunflowers, I guess. And when we connect next time, we'll finish up April. I think we're going to spend some money. That's what we need to do. We need to figure out how we're going to spend some money. We've got a lot of cash to spend right now. Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks everyone for joining me again. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. I certainly would appreciate it. Subscribe if you want. Would appreciate that as well. Love to have you along. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And I'll see you back here Friday, actually. So tomorrow, Thursday, will be Old Family Farm. See you soon. Bye for now.